Hello everyone, it's Miss Emma back with video number 12 in our TinkerCAD YouTube series. In my last video I showed you how to import 2D files using SVGs, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to import 3D files into TinkerCAD using what we call STLs. So we've been using STLs when we export our TinkerCAD files because that's the file type for 3D printed and 3D objects. So in today's video we're going to be using other people's 3D designs and uploading them into TinkerCAD using the import STL function. So first we need to find a STL file that we like. So to do this we're going to have to go ahead and search the World Wide Web. So I go to a website called Thingiverse. And Thingiverse is a website where lots of people upload their designs, and these range from things like, as you can see, models that people use just to decorate, or they can also be engineering pieces to help solve problems. A really cool feature that I do want to point out is right now they're holding a challenge. Lots of people have been using 3D printed designs to aid during this pandemic to help face masks wearers have better fitting designs. So if you click on this, you can see the different designs people have been creating to help in this time, which is a really cool feature. There are tons of applications for 3D printing and 3D designs. So in Thingiverse, I can search pretty much anything just to see what's already out there and then download these designs. So for example, let's say I wanted to add on to my house, but I didn't want to have to go through the process of designing every piece of furniture. So let's say I search something like sofa. And then here you will see lots of different options. Some of the pictures will be a 3D printed version of this, so they'll be in plastic, or it could be the design itself. So let's say I wanted to import this sectional here. So if I click on it, I'll get this option that allows me to download all files, and then I'll see that download here. You'll notice it downloaded as a zip, and TinkerCAD will not be able to upload a zip, but if I click this, I can decompress the zip and then open that folder. So inside this folder will be a couple of different file types. I'll have to go into files, and there I'll find the STL. To make it easier for me to find this when I go to import it, just like I did with the SVG, I'm gonna go ahead and put that on my desktop so it's nice and easy to find. I believe I actually already did this. Yep, there it is, sofa STL. Okay, so now that I have the right file type, I don't have to worry about converting it or anything because Thingiverse should always have an STL file inside that zip. So I can go back to my work plane on TinkerCAD and I could go ahead and import a file. So when I go to choose file, I just need to find that file on my desktop and open it up. What you'll notice here is I have the ability to scale the size of that and it'll tell me the dimensions. So right away I'm getting this warning here that this dimensioning is too large for my work plane. And now is a really good time to start thinking about how big you want this object to be, because using this scale right here is going to be the easiest way to uniformly scale down this size. So if you think about something like our fidget spinner for reference, remember that was like 80 to 90 millimeters across. And that took up majority of our work plane. So especially if I was going to import this into my house, I definitely wouldn't want it to be this large. So maybe let's scale it down to like 10% of that. A scale of 10 would get me these dimensions. That's still quite large. So I'm going to scale it down even smaller than that and try 5, 100. That's closer to like a manageable size on my work plane. So I'm going to go ahead and import that. And that's still going to be a little bit too big, but this way you'll see how it would be better to scale it down using that tool than having to manually do it, so I don't end up distorting the size of this object. So this process may take a while, especially if you have a slow internet. So we're just going to wait a second for this to load. Yay! Okay. So finally my sofa has imported, and as you can see it's still pretty large. So just like any other object that we have on our TinkerCAD work plane, I can change the size, and if I want to do it as uniform as possible, I want to use one of the white boxes in the corner, but this is only going to change the width and the length. So you'll notice that as I make this smaller, the height still stays the same, so I have to make sure I change that, and even then I kind of risk distorting it. So I'm gonna make this pretty small. Then keep shrinking it down, and then if I scroll around, I'll be able to see where I need to edit. And of course I could change the color of this just like any other shape. I'm gonna make this like cream couch. And then I could either import this into an already existing design. So for example, if I want this in my house, I would just open up my house work plane and then move it over, or I could always then copy and paste this over, similar to how I showed you on the chair and table onto the patio of my house. That honestly might be easier to do because then you could resize it on an empty work plane without worrying about having to move around all of the other objects inside of your house. So you could resize it and then copy and paste it over into your house or any other project. So let's do one more example of this. I'm gonna go ahead and open up a new work plane just in case, and I'm gonna search up something else on Thingiverse. So there are a couple of other features I want to show you for editing other people's STL files besides just the size and the color. So let's try searching something maybe a little more complex. So let's try like a figurine. I'm gonna look up a Pikachu. So here you'll see we get quite a few little figurines. These are designs that were on more of like a sculpting / modeling 3D software. So these aren't going to be designs that people made on TinkerCAD, but TinkerCAD is great for combining different designs on. So for example, I saw a chess piece that had Pokemon on it that used this design. So someone probably downloaded a chess piece 3D design and then downloaded this and then used TinkerCAD to place those together. Let's try this Pikachu. And just like for the last one, I'm going to go ahead and just press download all files. Or you could always pull up a menu on it. Remember, I'm looking for that STL, so go to STL. I was looking for the STL files. Search this because see how it fits. I'm going to go ahead and my desktop, and again, back to my TinkerCAD work plane. And I'm going to go ahead and import. Again, I'm going to be really analytical about the scale of this. So this is only importing in like the 20s and 30s, which I think is just fine. I'm going to go ahead and import that. And hopefully this won't take as long because it is a smaller object that is importing. Okay, so now my Pikachu has imported, and as I suspected, the tail did not import, but I'll just go ahead and show you what combining two STL files would look like. So I'm just going to import again. I didn't drag the tail to my desktop, so I'm going to have to go looking for it in my downloads. But if I open up that folder, I should still be able to find it just fine. And because I want these to fit together, I obviously would not want to mess with the scale at all. So since I didn't change the scale on the last one, I'm not going to change the scale on this one. Go ahead and drag the tail out. And this process could be done with any two shapes, so maybe you have a figurine and you want to place it on top of another object, or maybe you have something else already designed and you want to add something to it. Maybe you're putting something in the hand of the character, or maybe you've designed a car and you want to place a character inside of it. You can of course do that. I'm going to go ahead and change Pikachu's color. The other feature that I want to show you in terms of editing this, you may have noticed already, but there are a couple of other menu options up here. So many of you probably recognize this as like the Minecraft symbol. So you can make things look more Minecraft style. Obviously this version does not really resemble anything, but you can change how many blocks are being used to make it more realistic. So this uses more blocks and you can kind of start to see his ears and tail, but I'm going to use the most blocks I can possible to get a more realistic image. So now I have a Minecraft block version of this Pikachu. And TinkerCAD actually works really well with Minecraft. There's other third-party websites that you can export these to and then import them into your Minecraft world. I highly suggest looking up other tutorials on how to do that. That might be something we include in this series, but that is another fun option for you to use to edit these designs. You could also just edit things from scratch using this option. There's also a Lego blocks version, but again, depending how many blocks you're using, this won't come out as realistic. I'm not sure that actually resembles Pikachu, but with more simplistic objects, you could create a Lego version of a 3D printed Pikachu. So I'm going to go back to the normal version, which is back over here, but I do encourage you to play around with that Minecraft and Lego option. So I don't have a specific assignment for you guys to build or follow along with me here. Unlike the last video, I just want to see you guys integrate other people's designs into your own. Obviously, ideally, you have all the skills and the know-how to make your own designs from scratch, but sometimes it's really cool to incorporate other people's hard work into your own. So I highly encourage you guys to revisit projects we've already done, things like the keychain, things like the stamp, things like the house, pretty much any of those projects. It would be cool to go back and add things that are already designed to take those to the next level, especially the house. You could pretty much decorate and completely furnish that house that you've created. So hopefully you enjoy using this tool on TinkerCAD, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video where we start to wrap up the end of this TinkerCAD 3D modeling online tutorial course. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video.